Massive crowds packing St. Peter's Square for her canonization 19 years after her death. Now, that's pretty quick, considering most of the Catholic Church's blessed people receive sainthood many decades or even centuries after their deaths. Of course, Mother Teresa was celebrated for her dedication to the poorest of the poor. And after today's ceremony, Pope Francis again honored her memory and treated some 1,500 homeless people to pizza in the Vatican auditorium. We're told the chef brought his own ovens. I mean, that's a lot of pizza, right? Amy Kellogg is live in Rome. All right, Amy, how is she being remembered?
Well, Laura, it was not just a weekend of ceremony, but it was an opportunity for a lot of people to reflect on some of the Mother Teresa truisms, things that she said during her lifetime, like, you cannot forgive unless you totally forget. Another one that was, holiness does not consist in extraordinary things, but rather in greeting whatever God dishes out to you with a smile. So people were remembering things she said. She's been widely quoted and remembered here in Rome and around the world. On the weekend, she became a saint. Her sainthood was fast-tracked because she had two big advocates, Pope Francis, who shares her approach to doing as much as possible for the poor, and Pope John Paul II, to whom she was very close. He streamlined the canonization process generally, dropping the miracle requirement from 4 to 2. St. Teresa was honored for her service to the sick, the poor, and the unwanted in Calcutta, India, particularly, a story we all know quite well right now. But people have also reflected on some of the less-known aspects of the nun's life, such as her 50-year period of spiritual doubt when she found herself at times even unable to pray or feel God's presence, a time when, in letters published posthumously, she described suffering the tortures of hell, or what some of her advocates have said was really a spiritual poverty, sort of like, Laura, a Calcutta of the heart.
And Amy, you know, the story of her life truly is fascinating. I'm listening to one of your reports earlier. Tell us a little bit more about her life.
Yeah, well, she was born in 1910 to Albanian parents in Skopje, Macedonia, where they celebrated her life today. Her father was an Albanian nationalist with a very hot temper. Her mother was a very loving housewife. She had 4 siblings, 2 of whom died in infancy, and her family really always pushed the message of giving to those who are less fortunate. They were a wealthy family for most of her childhood. And so she remembers growing up and having at one point her mother bring a couple of people home from the street, and she and her siblings were told that they had to look out for these people, care for them, and serve them. Mother Teresa was born Agnes Gonja Boniaju in 1910. She experienced her calling at the very young age of 12 years old and left home at 18 for faraway Ireland, where she joined the Loreto Sisters Convent. From there, went off to Calcutta to serve the poor, the needy. It was something she knew she wanted to do right away. Pope Francis today, remembering her, said that he, as loving as she was, he wouldn't have wanted to have her as a mother superior. She was very strict with all of her sisters. And today, on a light and an extra warm note, he threw this pizza party for 1,500 homeless people from across Italy. They were all bussed into Rome, having Neapolitan pizza, the best, they say. And then those people were all, incidentally, given VIP seating at the Mass of canonization today, Laura.
That is so great. We have been watching from afar. Very cool stuff. And thank you for that great detail, Amy Kellogg, for us in London and Rome.